Jai Gurudev, we have discussed a lot about transforming vices into virtues. Gurudev's teachings also mention that if one can't get rid themselves of a vice, they should increase it, but redirect its energy. How does this concept align with the idea of emotional regulation in psychology? Emotion regulation is central to mental health, and Gurudev's teachings on redirecting vices can be understood through this lens. Modern psychology suggests that emotions like anger, grief, and even pride are not inherently bad. What matters is how we regulate and direct them. Emotion regulation, as seen in cognitive behavioral therapy (CBT) and mindfulness based therapies, shows that simply suppressing emotions can lead to greater distress. In contrast, acknowledging these emotions and then channeling them into positive directions can lead to better outcomes. Gurudev's advice to increase vices like anger but focus that energy on larger existential topics like the infinite or Brahman mirrors this principle. We are encouraged to be aware of our emotions without letting them control us. By redirecting anger toward understanding the infinite or pride toward owning the divine, we are using these emotions as tools of personal and spiritual growth rather than allowing them to drive us into negative behaviors or stress. That's interesting. So instead of eliminating the emotion, we are learning to harness it for greater self awareness and growth. How does Gurudev's teaching on attachment, specifically attaching oneself to the Guru, help in overcoming a root cause of many emotional vices? Attachment is one of the strongest forces influencing human behavior in spiritual psychology. Attachment to material possessions or even relationships can often be the cause of suffering, as we see with the Buddhist teaching of Four Noble Truths where attachment is considered the root of dukkha or suffering. Gurudev's wisdom here suggests a profound shift. Instead of being attached to fleeting worldly things, attach yourself to the Guru, the embodiment of divine wisdom, love, and presence. Research in attachment theory shows that secure attachment to a guiding figure or a higher power can actually lead to greater emotional resilience. Secure attachments provide individuals with a sense of safety and belonging, which are essential for developing emotional regulation. Gurudev invites us to see the Guru not just as a physical person but as a manifestation of the divine. By cultivating an attachment to this divine presence, we can transcend our need for external validation and material security. This helps to cultivate inner peace and allows us to release attachments that limit our emotional freedom. That's a beautiful shift. Now, Gurudev also mentions the idea of being greedy for satsang. In today's world where distractions are plentiful, how can this craving for spiritual community contribute to mental and emotional well-being? Jai Gurudev. Satsang, or being in the company of like minded, spiritually minded people, offers immense psychological benefits. The importance of community in well being is widely recognized in research, particularly in the field of social support. Studies have shown that social support from spirituality aligned individuals not only provides emotional relief but also fosters a sense of purpose and connection, which is essential for mental health. Gurudev's teachings to be greedy for satsang resonates with the idea of social connectedness psychologically. When we surround ourselves with people who share similar values and spiritual practices, we experience a collective energy that uplifts us. This collective energy boosts positive emotions, reduces feelings of loneliness, and provides a framework for emotional and spiritual growth. Research also highlights that regular participation in a supportive community reduces stress, decreases feelings of depression, and promotes resilience. Furthermore, from a neurological standpoint, group meditation and prayer have been shown to activate areas of the brain associated with positive emotional states and well being. When we engage in satsang, we align ourselves with not only like minded individuals but with a higher collective consciousness, which accelerates a spiritual journey and emotional healing. It is clear that the importance of spiritual community goes beyond just a philosophical or a religious practice. It has real psychological benefits. Another area Gurudev touches on is jealousy, using us to be jealous about seva or selfless service. How does the practice of seva tie into overcoming jealousy and fostering emotional growth? Jealousy is one of the most destructive emotions, often rooted in comparison and feelings of inadequacy. From a psychological perspective, jealousy arises when we feel threatened by another person's success, which highlights our own insecurities or unmet desires. Gurudev's approach to jealousy is revolutionary. Instead of suppressing or criticizing this emotion, he redirects it towards seva or selfless service. Research in positive psychology highlights that altruism, the act of giving to others without expecting anything in return, can reduce negative emotions like jealousy, envy, and self doubt. When we focus on serving others, we shift our attention away from our own ego and material desires. Seva helps us realize that we are part of a greater whole, which in turn diminishes the desire to compare ourselves to others. Additionally, studies show that engaging in acts of kindness and service activates the dopamine system in the brain, leading to feelings of joy and satisfaction. Seva, in this sense, is not only a spiritual practice but also a psychological strategy to promote emotional well being and reduce feelings of jealousy. Seva truly seems to be a powerful tool for personal and collective transformation. Let's move on to another teaching of Gurudev says about grief and sorrow. He states that joy is love for what is and sorrow is love for what is not. How do these emotions impact our psychological and emotional well-being? According to contemporary research, Gurudev's statement resonates deeply with modern psychological principles. Grief and sorrow often stem from our attachment to what we have lost or to what we wished had been different. These feelings are deeply connected to the concept of loss aversion in behavioral economics and psychology, where we experience greater emotional pain from losing something we have than the joy we get from gaining something of equal value. However, contemporary research in mindfulness and acceptance and commitment therapy ACT suggests that the key to overcoming grief and sorrow is acceptance, accepting both what we have and what we don't. Gurudev's teaching to embrace what is aligns with this principle. By letting go of attachment to the past or future, we can experience greater peace and joy in the present moment. Moreover, neuroscientific studies have shown that regular meditation and mindfulness practice can reduces the brain's reactivity to negative emotions, making it easier to stay centered in the present. By embracing the reality of the moment, we stop longing for what's missing, and in doing so, we free ourselves from sorrow and invite joy into our lives. These teachings seem to offer practical tools for transforming emotional suffering into wisdom and joy. How can someone begin integrating these insights into their everyday life? The key is consistent practice. Gurudev's teachings are about transforming the way we relate to our emotions. To integrate them into daily life, we must begin with simple steps such as practicing mindfulness, engaging in seva, attending satsang, and reflecting on one's emotions without judgment. Research shows that habits like meditation, journaling, and engaging in regular acts of kindness can create lasting emotional shifts. By making these practices a part of your routine. You begin to change your emotional landscape over time. These practices become ingrained, and the negative emotions that once dominated your life can be transformed into opportunities for growth. Start small, be consistent, and the transformation will unfold. It is a gradual process, but it's powerful and deeply fulfilling. Thank you so much for these insights. It's amazing how these ancient teachings align so well with modern psychological practices and research. Thank you for the thoughtful questions. It is a joy to share these teachings, and I hope they inspire everyone to bring more peace and joy into their lives through consistent practices and awareness. Jai Gurudev.